Diastasis recti healing is a lot about the pelvic floor and deep core connection. So when we are looking at the healing and we are trying to heal, we cannot ignore the connection of your core muscles, deep core muscles, with the pelvic floor. Both the deep core, the ab muscles, and the pelvic floor are all part of the core muscles. So the core muscles is not just the abs, as many think. Core muscles is much larger, it's the midsection. The pelvic floor, the ab, the deep core is definitely part of the core. And they are directly connected to each other. The deep core and the pelvic floor needs to work together. So they work together like a pump, kind of like a pump. In a relaxing and a pumping, relaxing, pumping, relax, relax, pump, relax, pump. When you're breathing, this pumping mechanism has to happen and has to be in synchrony and harmony. And then everything works perfectly. And then this is how we actually activate the deep core and pelvic floor muscles. We tend to activate them together, or the best way is when you activate them together. But often when recovery happens after pregnancy and they find out they have diastasis recti, they only want to activate the deep core muscles and they only want to focus on the abs, because women, or they tend to think, many tend to think that is the abs that the issue is the abs, because the ab is bulging out. There is a mommy pouch, right? There is a pouch, it's bulging out. So they think it all comes from the abs. Some even think that it might be fat. It could be a mix of it. I don't want to get into this because in today's video, I want to discuss about the core and pelvic floor connection and how they need to work together. In some cases, it can be also why your diastasis recti is not healing, that either you have an underactive pelvic floor or you have an over tight pelvic floor. So these pelvic floor muscles down there, either they might be too weak, like underactive, like not strong enough, or maybe they are too tight, they're too tense, they're always tensing like this. How can you identify which one is happening to you? So if you have an over tight pelvic floor muscle, you might have constipation. You feel like you have to pee all the time because your pelvic floor is tensing, so you cannot relax it. It's the problem is it's too tight, too tense. You cannot relax it and let the urine flow out, or you cannot relax it to go to the toilet. So that's why it's all the time tense. It feels always heavy. It feels like there's a heaviness there. You feel like a fullness in there all the time. Like maybe you feel like you always have to pee. That can be also that they are too tense. When you urinate, you can't let it all go, all out. That's why it always feels full and tense and feel like you always have to pee. That's when it's over tight. This is the tight. Then we have the underperforming pelvic floor, the too weak pelvic floor, underactive, we call it. So like it's too weak. It feels like something is bulging out there. The urination problem can be here as well, but here is the feeling for is more like you can't find your pelvic floor. It's always in too relaxed phase. So you almost like you can't contract it. You can't find it. You don't know where it is. You don't feel it. You can't even feel it because something is bulging out there. So you can have prolapse in this case when it's underactive or too weak. Usually prolapse is kind of a symptom of it. So again, this can have also the frequent urination. You have to pee all the time. You leak in urine again. Constipation is more like with the tightness. If something is coming out there, you feel like, and you have a prolapse, that could be a weak pelvic floor. This usually comes together with the diastasis recti. So that's why I'm saying they have to work together, a pelvic floor and deep core muscles, in order to heal. So what you can do in this case is a very simple activation technique for the pelvic floor muscles, pelvic floor and deep core muscles together with the connected breathing. So if you have seen some of my videos, and I'm only sitting this way now because I don't have a chair, or if I sit down on the ground, it's gonna be more difficult, but I can try like this. So what we're gonna do is take a deep inhale, and then on the exhale, we're gonna feel the core contracting and the pelvic floor lifting. What the pelvic floor lifting means it comes like a little bit like this. Like you want to pick up a blueberry with it. Let's not forget that the pelvic floor has also 4 sides, front, back, and the 2 sides, so 4. And we need to contract all 4 sides on the exhale. So the inhale, what you're doing is inhale, and do not just inhale to the belly, although it's also not completely wrong, but the more effective way, it's not wrong actually just to inhale in the belly, I want to say, but the better way is to inhale to the sides. So you're trying to correct the air more like here, you're concentrating on this part and to the back. So everywhere it will be like this when you inhale, and on the exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. This is what we want to feel, and this is that pumping feeling of the core. Inhale, exhale, and at the same time, the pelvic floor will also do like this. So your core will come like this. On both sides, it will expand, and the pelvic floor will expand down. On the inhale, will kind of like open up, like you want to open things up down there. And then your core will open like this, expand, pelvic floor. And on the exhale, they contract. Inhale, and on the exhale, they contract. Inhale, you let it all open. And on the exhale, they contract. This is the kind of the pumping effect that we want to achieve. So let's try. Inhale. Inhale to the rib cage. A little bit the belly will expand as well in the end. Inhale. And on the exhale, contract it and lift the pelvic floor together. The same time. On the exhale, contract and lift. That's when it pumps. Inhale. And on the exhale, contract and pump. I recommend you to do this exercise like for a 10 breath session at a time, and try to do it like 3 times during the day. And this will get you started with the activation of the deep core and the pelvic floor muscles. And this is the correct way with the 360 breathing and the pumping of the core, deep core and pelvic floor to activate it. Make sure you always pay attention to the relaxing phase as well on the inhale and the contraction on the exhale. Both have to work together. It has to be relaxing and it has to be also contracting, both. Because if we only do one of the actions all the time, like we only contract and focusing on the contraction, what's gonna happen? We're gonna have an over-tight pelvic floor muscles, right? And if we're not contracting but is always relaxed, when we have the issues there, then we're gonna have a weak pelvic floor muscles. So we have to do both. All right, so I hope this has been great. It has been great for me. Thank you for watching me. Please check out the other videos in the series to learn more about why your diastasis recti is not healing, why your mommy pouch is not going away. And make sure to follow me, subscribe, and see you in the next video.